Welcome back to the deep dive. This is where we go through the sources you share with us to, find the insights that really stick.
We're always looking for those aha moments,
Yeah.
the things hidden just below the surface.
And today we are doing a deep dive into a really powerful collection of observations. It's titled The Architecture of Presence: Stopping the Search for Happiness.
Yeah, and let's be clear, this isn't some motivational talk.
No, not at all. It's more like an instruction manual for just seeing things a bit more clearly.
It really takes aim at this huge cultural assumption we all have, that feeling good is something you have to chase or buy or, achieve.
Right.
And these sources, they're just short, simple stories from 4 different parts of life. They all point to the same kind of radical idea.
Which is that the search itself is the barrier.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the core idea, it's actually deceptively simple. What if that feeling of rightness isn't something you add to your life?
Like a new habit or a new phone.
Exactly. What if it's what's left over when you consciously take something away? And that's our mission today. We're going to trace that exact pattern through 4 stories.
What's so fascinating to me is that the knowledge we're talking about, it's not technical, it's not abstract.
No, it's all
It's
experiential.
completely experiential, yeah. We're looking at these 4 contexts: shopping, a client meeting, family dinner, even an elevator ride. And we find this one consistent pattern.
Let's start with the first one then. This is where the search for happiness often begins for a lot of us, right? Consumption.
The happiness shop.
The happiness shop.
Hmm.
It introduces us to a man named Ravi. He's walking his usual route to work, past all these stores selling everything: tea, clothes, phones, you name it.
Hmm.
And this question just pops into his head. If everything is for sale, why isn't happiness?
And that right there, that's the modern trap, isn't it? We're just trained to see any kind of discontent as like a product deficiency.
Yeah, that if you just buy the right thing.
The feeling will follow that there's a market solution for an internal problem.
So Ravi, he decides to run this little experiment on the spot. He pulls out his phone, opens an online store, and just starts adding things to his cart.
The digital version of the street he's on.
Exactly. And the source makes this really specific, fascinating point. He felt lighter immediately, but only for about 5 minutes.
And that 5-minute window, that's everything. That little bit of relief isn't from getting the thing. It's purely anticipatory.
It's the distraction.
It's the distraction, yeah.
Yeah.
The mind is so engaged in the mission, in the transaction, that it stops its usual critique of the present moment. The brain gets a promise of the solution, and for a minute, it relaxes.
But it's not sustainable, of course not. The moment the order is confirmed, the phone goes back in his pocket.
The transaction's over.
And that old heaviness, that, background discontent, it just rushes right back in.
And Robbie's insight here is so important. He realizes the shopping didn't actually deliver any peace. It just masked his agitation.
It was agitation dressed up as action.
That's a great way to put it. So that evening, he walks home differently. No music, no distractions. And he finds his mind just starts to slow down, all on its own.
He realizes that peace isn't something you buy. It appears when no transaction is happening.
That constant scrolling, comparing, anticipating, that's the engine of the restlessness.
So when he just stopped that engine.
The natural state of ease, which is, it's always there underneath, it finally has some space to show up. The search itself keeps you focused on what you don't have.
And that idea, that distinction between the agitation of seeking and the ease of just being, that takes us right into the next
A
story.
different kind of agitation.
A very different but related kind. The compulsion to be the fixer.
Right. So story 2, the client meeting. We meet Mira, a high-powered consultant. Her whole job, her identity really, is about selling solutions.
She finds what's wrong and she builds a plan to fix it. That's her value.
Exactly. So she's in this meeting, and it starts off a bit strange. The client just says, everything is fine. Still, something feels heavy.
And you can just imagine that consultant reflex kicking in. She's ready with the presentation, the strategic fix for this, vague feeling of heaviness.
But she doesn't do it. She pauses. And that pause is the whole story. Instead of launching into a solution, she asks this really simple, present tense question.
She just asks, right now, at this exact moment, is there a problem?
And the client is silent for a moment and then just says really softly, no, not right now.
Wow. So the heaviness wasn't a real problem Mira needed to fix.
It was a projection. It was the mental drag of worrying about all the things that could go wrong in the future.
I can hear people pushing back on that, though. Isn't it her job to solve problems? Is she risking something by not offering a solution?
And that's the tension, right? That's the point. We're not saying don't solve actual tangible problems.
Of course not.
But what this story shows is that this pervasive low-level anxiety, this heaviness, it's often generated by the compulsion to solve things even when there isn't a current problem.
The client was just stuck in the business of solving.
Yes. And that created the very agitation he was trying to pay her to fix. In the end, no solution was sold, no proposal was made, but the client felt lighter.
Mira realized some problems don't need a fix. They need to be seen in the light of the present moment.
Exactly. When the business of solving stops, ease just returns on its own. The agitation was the mental activity, not the situation.
Okay, that brings us to the third story, which takes this whole idea into a much more personal space, the dinner table.
This one is maybe the most relatable. It's about that comparison and lack trap.
So we have Anil. He's at the dinner table with his family, and by all accounts, everything is great. The food is good, the house is quiet.
All the boxes are checked for a pleasant evening.
Right, and yet he feels that same nagging heaviness, that discontent. His wife asks him what's wrong, and he honestly doesn't know what to say.
Because objectively, nothing is wrong. The deficit is in the feeling, not in the facts.
I think we've all been there.
Oh, absolutely. It's the tyranny of shoulds. You know, that little voice saying, this moment should feel happier, or this doesn't look like that perfect family dinner from the movie.
The gap between reality and expectation.
That's where the discontent lives. So Anil does something. He does what Mira did, but he turns it inward. He puts down his spoon and he asks himself, silently.
Right now, at this table, what is missing?
And what happens next is so simple, it's almost, profound.
The question just dissolves.
It just dissolves. There's no answer because there's nothing to point to. The scene is the same food, same people, but the internal pressure is gone. The heaviness lifts.
So the question itself is the tool. It forces the mind, which is off somewhere, comparing and judging, to come back and just audit the present.
And the audit comes back clean.
Yeah.
Nothing is actually missing right now. When the audit comes back clean, the demand just stops.
The core lesson is that he stopped asking for happiness.
Exactly. The heaviness was coming from the demand, from the comparison. The second he stopped demanding that the moment be something different, the ease that was already there just came back.
The discomfort wasn't the absence of happiness, it was the demand for it.
And that realization, that relief, comes from just suspending the demand, sets up our final story perfectly.
The office lift. The shortest one, but maybe the most direct.
It's the ultimate test of presence, really,
Yeah.
a moment designed for distraction.
So picture it. Morning rush, elevators packed, everyone is just staring down at their phones.
Avoiding eye contact, killing time.
They're not sad, they're not happy, they're just waiting. And we meet Rahul, and he makes a very conscious choice.
He puts his phone away.
He puts it away. And he's not trying to meditate, he's not trying to achieve anything, he just watches the wall for 10 seconds, then 20.
And the source has this key line. Nothing was demanded from the moment.
No transaction, no problem to solve, no comparison.
And this is where you see the physical result. The lift doors open, people file out, and Rahul notices this change in his own body.
His shoulders feel lighter, his breath is deeper.
Yeah. The mental calm immediately translates into physical relaxation,
He didn't gain anything, he didn't achieve a goal, but something just felt right.
which brings it all together. The feeling of rightness doesn't come when something is added. It comes when asking stops.
So that physical tension we all carry around, that heaviness, it's directly tied to that mental stress of wanting the moment to be something other than what it is.
So we've seen this one single pattern now across 4 completely different areas. Consumption, professional problem solving, family life, and just a random moment of stillness.
And the message is always the same.
It's always the same. Whether the friction is from needing to buy or needing to solve or needing to compare, the ease just shows up the second that demand stops.
Which I think raises a really important question. If contentment is what remains, then maybe our main job isn't to frantically collect more things or even to, endlessly work on self-improvement.
Maybe it's just to notice, to observe and accept the moments where we are simply being.
Without trying to edit them.
Right. It shifts everything from this exhausting active chase, which these stories say is the source of the problem, to this quiet, powerful recognition that, you know what, right now is actually enough.
That really is the architecture of presence.
It is.
And it brings us right back to that final thought that summed up all of these sources so well. Feel good is not a reward. It is what remains when searching ends.
A simple idea, but a really powerful experiment to run in your own life. just shifting from that demanding mind to the observing mind.
Thank you so much for sharing these sources with us. So, based on all of this, here's something to think about. We've seen that the discontent often comes from trying to turn the present moment into something better. What one small, automatic action do you do every day that promises you better, but might actually be stopping you from seeing the quiet rightness that's already here?
Something to mull over. Until next time.
We'll see you back here for another deep dive.